Below is a full, detailed historical narrative about the death of Queen Elizabeth I of England, 1533 to 1603, the Elizabeth most commonly meant in world history. This is written as a complete story, covering her final years, symptoms, political context, medical theories, and the aftermath of her death. The Death of Queen Elizabeth I, a full historical story. Introduction. Queen Elizabeth I, known as the Virgin Queen, ruled England for nearly 45 years, from 1558 until her death in 1603. Her reign marked one of the most powerful and transformative periods in English history, the Elizabethan Age, a time of cultural flowering, maritime expansion, religious settlement, and national confidence. Yet despite her strength and political brilliance, Elizabeth's final months were marked by physical decline, emotional exhaustion, and deep loneliness. Her death remains surrounded by historical debate because no official medical diagnosis was recorded and medicine in the early 17th century was limited. What follows is the full story of what may have caused her death, based on contemporary accounts and modern historical analysis. Elizabeth's later years, a queen growing old. By late 1590s, Queen Elizabeth was in her late 60s, an advanced age for the time. Though she had survived smallpox, political plots, assassination attempts, and decades of stress, age was finally taking its toll. Physical decline. Elizabeth had once been celebrated for her energy, dancing, writing, and sharp intellect. But as she aged, she suffered from joint pain and stiffness. Her teeth deteriorated, causing difficulty eating. She experienced frequent fatigue. Her sleep patterns worsened. She relied heavily on white lead-based makeup, which may have slowly poisoned her body. Despite this, she refused to publicly acknowledge weakness. Elizabeth believed her authority depended on the image of strength. Emotional and psychological strain. Elizabeth's final years were emotionally devastating. Death of close companions. Between 1598 and 1602, Elizabeth lost many of the people closest to her. William Cecil, Lord Burghley, her chief advisor, Sir Francis Walsingham, Spymaster, Robert Devereux, Earl of Essex, once her favorite, executed for treason in 1601. The execution of Essex deeply affected her. Witnesses reported she became withdrawn, silent, and depressed afterward. Signs of depression. Contemporary observers noted long periods of silence, refusal to eat properly, staying awake for days, sitting motionless for hours, staring into space. Some historians believe Elizabeth may have suffered from severe depression, which weakened her immune system and hastened her death. Final illness, winter 1602 to 1603. Refusal to rest. In late 1602, Elizabeth became seriously ill. However, she refused to go to bed, believing that lying down meant surrendering to death. She instead sat upright on cushions for days. Her physicians were helpless. Treatments at the time included bloodletting, herbal tonics, prayer. None were effective. Physical symptoms. Accounts describe extreme weakness, difficulty speaking, loss of appetite, swelling in the body, fever-like symptoms. Elizabeth reportedly whispered very little, conserving her energy. Possible medical causes of death. Because no autopsy was performed, historians rely on symptoms and descriptions. Several theories exist. 1. Blood poisoning. Septicemia. This is one of the most widely accepted theories. Evidence: Elizabeth suffered from poor dental health. Infections from untreated abscesses could enter the bloodstream. Fever, weakness, and swelling support this theory. In an age before antibiotics, even minor infections could be fatal. 2. Pneumonia or respiratory illness. Elizabeth fell ill during winter. Supporting facts: cold weather at Richmond Palace, weak immune system, breathing difficulties reported near the end. Pneumonia was extremely deadly in the 1600s. 3. Lead poisoning. Elizabeth used ceruse, a white cosmetic made from lead, to maintain her youthful appearance. Symptoms of chronic lead poisoning include fatigue, cognitive decline, depression, organ failure. Years of exposure may have weakened her body over time. 4. Cancer. Some historians suggest ovarian cancer, stomach cancer. However, there is no strong physical evidence, and this theory is less widely supported. Measure 5. Severe depression and failure to thrive. Elizabeth's emotional state likely played a role. After Essex's execution, she stopped eating properly, lost interest in affairs of state, displayed resignation toward death. Modern medicine recognizes that psychological collapse can lead to physical decline, especially in the elderly. The final days. By March 1603, Elizabeth's condition worsened rapidly. She could barely speak. She made hand gestures instead of words. When asked about her successor, she silently indicated James VI of Scotland. On the 24th of March, 1603, in the early morning hours, Queen Elizabeth I died peacefully at Richmond Palace at the age of 69. Aftermath and legacy. Elizabeth's death marked the end of the Tudor dynasty. She was succeeded by James I of England, uniting the crowns of England and Scotland. Funeral. She was buried in Westminster Abbey. Thousands mourned her passing. Her funeral procession was grand and solemn. Her tomb inscription reads, open quote, partners both in throne and grave, here rest we two sisters, Elizabeth and Mary, in the hope of one resurrection. Close quote. Conclusion. What truly caused her death? The most likely cause of Elizabeth I's death was a combination of factors, not a single illness. Old age, chronic infection, possibly blood poisoning, depression and emotional exhaustion, weakened immune system, possible respiratory illness. Elizabeth did not die suddenly. She faded away after a lifetime of responsibility, sacrifice, and power. Her death was not a tragedy of failure, but the natural end of one of history's greatest reigns. If you want, I can also write this as a school assignment, simplify it for easy English, add citations, or expand it to exactly 5,000 words.